But today we are focusing on Play True Day. You're going to hear about that as it relates to anti-doping. So let's say good morning to Dr. Adrian Lord, OBE family physician. He is also the chairman of the Anti-Doping Commission regionally. Great to have you here with us again today.
Good
nice
morning.
hat.
Yes, morning. I'm wearing a different hat today. So, yeah, and morning to Barbados and morning Shane.
Yes.
Good morning.
We also want to welcome Sasha Sutherland. She is Executive Director of Regional Anti-Doping Organization.
Hi, morning.
Great to have you here with us as well.
Yes, so we're encouraging clean sport and awareness building as the global fight continues against doping in sport. Dr. Lord, maybe you want to bring us up to date about what is the current state of play, no pun intended, when you look at what is happening in sport and all of the work that anti-doping agencies have been doing.
Well, the World Anti-Doping Agency was created back in 1989, but anti-doping was going on from way back. And doping has been going on from prehistoric days. But the current state of play is that we are presently in the mission of creating a new World Anti-Doping Code. As you know, the World Anti-Doping Code, which is we call it our Bible. This one is 2015 edition. And lots have happened, as you mentioned in your preamble, since 2015. And we are revising the World Anti-Doping Code at this stage. And Barbados and the Caribbean have been making inputs into that so that we will have a stronger, more athlete-friendly code. And that's going to be discussed and agreed to at the World Conference on Anti-Doping in Poland, Katowice, in November of this year.
Katowice.
Yes.
So the 2015 code, you mentioned that you want to make the code more athlete-friendly.
Athlete-friendly.
This one, in your opinion, is not?
No, this is, we protect the rights of the clean athletes, and that is what we do in anti-doping. So we're trying to get people to play true and play fair in sport, and we thought we should put some things to help the athlete more to protect their rights.
Well, that's absolutely what we need. And we also want to hear from Sasha Sutherland in her role as the Executive Director of the Regional Anti-Doping Organization. What are some of the things that you would certainly want to add to this? I mean, there's so much work going on, not just here in Barbados, not just in the region, but across the world to make sure and remind athletes of why they should play clean and fair.
Yes, so we are one of 16 regional anti-doping organizations in the world. Over 167 countries we represent, and those are just countries who sign on to regional anti-doping organizations where efforts are harmonized in specific regions. And so in the Caribbean, we have 17 member countries. And so, as Dr. Lord said, the code gives us a mandate to promote the values of respect, excellence, fair play coming out of the Olympic movement. And so a part of that is just recentering the athlete and not so much focusing on doping control or anti-doping rule violations, but just values-based education and helping to change the culture or the ideology of athletes as they play sport. And so we hope to level the playing field, ensure athletes know that there is someone there representing their interests and ensuring that as they participate in competition, there is clean sport. And so we've used the hashtag #PlayTrue, BU, PlayTrue in the region. And so we're doing a social media campaign. If you go on World Play True Day, as Dr. Lord said, it's practiced throughout the world, and we just encourage athletes, share your selfies, share your experiences in sport, and let's just put the fun back in what we do.
How are we doing though with playing true? I mean, there have been some situations, but how are we doing with that? So, either you or Dr.
Well, in the Caribbean, we have started doping controls from I think the National Anti-Doping Commission of Barbados, we started in 2000. And it's interesting that next weekend is Carifta Games. And I was looking back and seeing that back in 2001, Dr. Lord started doping controls at Carifta Games as well when it was held here. So doping controls will be held next weekend in Cayman Islands, and the Caribbean RADO will be there to do the doping controls on behalf of the Cayman Islands, is one of our countries. So we're doing pretty good as far as the education. We are doing doping controls throughout the region. Through the help of the World Anti-Doping Agency, we get funding to assist us in that, and through the national governments of the region and the National Olympic Committees, we'll be doing testing. We've also be testing for a number of international sporting bodies. when their athletes come here for relaxation or for training or for competition even, we are mandated to test them. So they have to give their whereabouts. They have to say where they are, when they're doing, where they are and what hours they're available. And we just turn up, knock at their doors and get some urine.
Yeah, you need to do it spontaneous like that.
Exactly.
Because, you don't want people to catch on to you. But you spoke about the revision of the code. What are some of the key areas that you think the new code needs to get right?
Well, we're looking at the international standards, and those are the basic things of the code. So the testing, we're doing improved testing rules and regulations, investigations, where we're incorporating and working along with the forces, the security forces in the areas, and the customs and immigration, because trafficking is a problem. Privacy and protection, we need to protect the rights of the athletes, and privacy and protection is also another area. Therapeutic use exemptions, where athletes do get injuries or get illnesses and they're allowed to take medication, but sometimes the medication may be on prohibited list. We need to make sure that that is genuine. So those are being revised in the code.
I have to ask you this, Dr. Lord, because I was told, or not instructed, but I was asked to put this one to you. It seems like some sports are more regulated than others. Can you put a nail in that coffin as far as the myth is concerned?
Yeah.
We've seen more investigations in sports like bodybuilding, for instance, rather than athletics, even although some people have been caught in athletics as well in recent years.
It is interesting that the statistics show that in the sport of bridge has the highest dopers in the world, believe it or not.
Really? Not those
Bridge.
little ladies.
Don't tell
Doctor
much
Lord.
in hindsight, but bridge has the, they have the highest
You're
thing,
telling
but
tales out of school?
it doesn't, no, in the world. But it doesn't hit the headlines. It has been hitting the headlines recently.
How can you dope in bridge? How does that help?
Well, as Cassandra said, I don't want to say little old ladies, they're more mature folk. And they may have some medical conditions that require them to use diuretics or beta blockers or heart failures for diabetics or insulin and so on, and they may not have applied the rules properly. It's not that they may be cheating, but it's maybe inadvertent doping.
That's the other thing. The medications and different things, when combined, that could look like that. Has that been proven to be indeed the case, or are people just trying to mask situations?
Well, certainly in the Caribbean, we advocate for our athletes to apply for therapeutic use exemption. So one of the myths we aim to clear up based on your question is that we're not trying to prevent athletes from competing in sport. We're not trying to prevent athletes who may need medication to take those medications. But the code stipulates that there is a process if you have to use something that is deemed prohibited. And so you apply for that therapeutic use exemption at least 30 days in advance.
That means the education must be key
Yes.
going forward.
Yes.
And the athletes, I find, I don't think that they will be taking up this. How many
No.
pages is in here? 152 pages and going
Yes.
through this. So how do we get more athletes to understand the information in this new code, which may be longer, which may be a bit thicker?
And so that's easy. So this code is our guideline. We then create education material. There's the playthrough quiz. There's the anti-doping e-learning platform where alpha athletes can go on and they can be certified in anti-doping and health, specifically for athletes. And so we're more social media friendly. There are more interactive technologies that athletes can use. And at most games, you will see a WADA or regional anti-doping organization presence, where we engage athletes one-on-one. We also do education for teams before they travel to games, just to clarify the doping control process, clarify what are their rights and their responsibilities. So this guides every aspect of doping control. In the Caribbean, for sure, we've simplified the code
Good.
into different sections. So the 11 stages of the doping control process.
Right.
Whereabouts
And
information.
this is a manual that all athletes should have.
Should have, yes.
If
And we
you're
have our
serious
countries
about it,
represented on the back. And so, it's all about centering the athletes, and we make it more friendly for them to understand what's written in the code.
Quickly, if you can tell me, what are some of the easier mistakes that the athletes make when they get caught doping under surveillance?
As I mentioned, inadvertent doping, they may take a cough medicine that might have a prohibited substance and not recognize it, because when you look at the list, there are a lot of chemical names and they may not recognize it. Some substances are prohibited in competition and some substances are prohibited in and out of competition. So sometimes that may happen, or they may have a condition and just be ignorant of the rules.
Okay. Our time is just about up, Dr. Laura. So playthrough day is actually today. Today. So I've written up my playthrough card. This is what I believe. I kind of wrote too big at first, and then. So can you see it? But this
playthrough for authentic national glory.
I
Yes.
like it.
And we like that because, you know, sometimes when you get a result, you wonder, is this body cheating? And we don't want that problem to happen in the Caribbean. We've had cases, and you mentioned the bodybuilding, in athletics, in weightlifting, in track cycling, and so on, to mention a few. So, you know,
don't want any questions
no
hovering
questions
over
asked at all.
your time
Your victories,
to shine.
Yeah,
Very quickly.
My handwriting is not as
You
good as yours.
you have to read that out.
But yeah,
Playthrough
the
for
hieroglyphics say
his Bruce Wayne's superpower is not working with this
for
handwriting.
longevity in sport, avoid the bands.
I like
lovely.
it.
I forgot the S on the band, but but yeah, we all want our athletes to do well, but they need to do it in a clean way.
Honestly.
And avoid the drugs.
Let ethics prevail and have your code, know your
matters.
code, know what you're supposed to do, and remember to check them out on social media. You want to share that with us quickly?
Yes, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Caribbean Rado.
Excellent, excellent playthrough day. So athletes, do the right thing. We're here rooting for you.